The river is still rising at this point.
Watches a lot of it debris back in next to the bank, a little bit swept around, a little bit carried down.
And the river is still up very, very high. We don't know what part of the road is going to give way next. We can see the workers are in here working, and they were yesterday as well. The park area for Surgeon is now underwater.
And that water is, I'm not sure, it must be coming from west.
This is Milton Creek, Highway 30. You can see where the slide came from.
Tremendous amount of water that's coming down from these falls off of 60 Mountain.
Hopefully the water won't be getting any higher than this.
February 1996. After surviving record windstorms, shivering through ice and sleet and snow, and witnessing the near freeze-over of the Columbia, citizens of the Columbia County last week were asking, what more? What else could possibly go wrong? Rain, flood, fallen trees, mudslides. Mother Nature dumped her bag of tricks out on the region, and it collected and surged with a force not seen since the 1950s. Residents along the once docile creeks were evacuated, and those who were stranded braced for the worst. In the middle of it all were the Channel 9 cameras and volunteers, braving life and limb to capture these ominous reminders that we're mere helpless bystanders in the face of disaster.
Operations are taking place to sandbag or dike the Olson and Wilson complex, which is under construction, and a lot of activity going down here to keep these floodwaters from overtaking the first floors of these condominium complexes down here. I wouldn't say today would be the most conducive day to be out shopping for residential property. Coast Guard helicopter cruising down the river, I assume looking for stranded residents that may have floated down the river with this rapidly rising water. I assume that this tugboat is headed down to take care of some kind of a problem that is happening further downstream. You can see the speed at which the tugboat is traveling. Water currents along this area right now, with the river being this high, are tremendous. Most of the sand island is underwater. And if you look at some of the recently driven piling for the Olson and Wilson Marina down here on the waterfront, you can see how they bob and weave from the pressure of that stream flow. Here on the Old Portland Road, you can see at the intersection with 18th Street that water from Milton Creek has come through the park and has really been causing some problems here. over Milton Creek. And as you can see, there's a torrent of water coming down. It's still raining, and it looks like it's going to continue throughout the day. Justifiably so. There's a lot of people concerned about their properties here. As you can see across the way, the homes along the creek over there are just inches away from having water right in on their first floor level. Lots of debris coming down. Sandbags have been put in place to help protect the residents here on Milton Street. I'm standing on Clark Street. You can see the raging torrent that Milton Creek has turned into, threatening many of the homes that are built down along the creek here. The rain continues to fall and the river continues to rise. As you can see, it has taken over part of the street right here on Clark Street. I understand that further on down at the end of the road, some of the houses are already isolated and water's in the basements and on the first floor. We're down at the end of Clark Street now, about as far as you can go. You can see down here as the terrain begins to fall towards the Columbia River, the raging torrent, the water is just absolutely rushing through here. I'm amazed that some of these trees are still standing. As you can see there, it's some rock or something under the water there, and it's just absolute rapids. Right on up the stream. Give you a little closer look here at that rushing water. As you can see, some of the homes on the other side of Milton Creek here are very close to being inundated. The first floor anyway, and sandbags have been put out. I see fire department personnel and others working over here sandbagging as we videotape this scene. The anxious property owners here quite concerned, and justifiably so, about how much higher this Milton Creek is going to rise and whether the sandbags will actually do the job of holding back the water. There is a tremendous stream flow here. It's just unbelievable. The water is bouncing right up over these underground or underwater obstructions. I'm not sure whether they're rocks or tree stumps, but it is just rushing through here at miles per hour.
In St. Helens, half a mile west of Highway 30, and the floodwaters are just coming up to the road. Usually there's just a tiny little creek here that flows across the road, underneath the road, and into this creek, which is thoroughly flooded. There used to be a bridge across the creek, which is now a lake, and this field and some poor farmer's tractor is underwater there. As you can see, it's pretty deep. And just amazing. Everybody's pitching in around here to help try and save the houses. The house he was referring to, that they've got it sandbagged up. You can see the sandbags piled up over there. What's your name? And you're with Oliphant?
Yeah.
And it's Milton Creek right here?
It's Milton Creek.
You ever seen it like that before?
I've only been here about 9 months, but everybody's saying no, it's never been this high.
Think you're gonna stay now? House is probably, the basement is full. You can see their vehicle is underwater up to its eyeballs. And the only ones braving this water are the ducks. By the Mantell 76. People are still making it through, although it looks slow going, and water He's about to the bottom of the vehicles, it looks like. You see how this car does as it goes through. It's got a lower wheelbase there. And it's still making it, so looks like if you take it slow, you can still get through here. We're in Columbia City, where they're getting sand right out of the bank here. And getting ready to sandbag. It looks like they're sandbagging around their houses here. They must be expecting the Columbia River to crest at a pretty high level for the sandbag at this rate. Let's go down and take a look at the river. And from this point, it looks pretty high up. The river isn't even crested yet till tomorrow. You can see the docks that are out there in the middle of the river. It looks like.
Oh, good morning.
This is Goebel Landing and what used to be the RV park. And I have here with me, what's your name, sir?
Dan Craig.
And what happened here as far as you know?
Well, the water kept coming up. People started moving out. This is the first time it's been up here. But they come up stuff.
You can see some of the cars didn't make it out. We're out in the boat now and getting some footage of what's happening here. When did the water?
These were all trailers in here.
Yeah, I've been down here. It's just amazing to me to see it all underwater.
And everything you see, we left on high ground thinking we had more room, and here's the cars that didn't quite get taken. About 4 this morning, we started work. I mean, we were working all yesterday afternoon, evening, and then at about 4 o'clock this morning, we finally sat down and took a break.
Wow.
We were watching the level of the river come up and gauging it. We did pretty good figuring out the tides and everything, but then it just started defying the tides and everything. This is a raging river. It's like a calm rage. You know, it's just doing its thing, its mean thing, and it just keeps on doing it.
Trojan and Prescott on Highway 30. We're walking right in the middle of the road because, as you can see, it's been closed. Most people are not making it through. There's been a landslide here. We just came through that little lane that's open. As we were coming down through there, we started getting more rocks, and I tell you what, I stepped on the accelerator and then some. It's pretty phenomenal. There's a semi here that kind of can gauge the pile that we're looking at. It is caught up into the lines, as you can see, and it is not done sliding. You see the size of the trees here that are coming down, and you can see where the slide came from, and it's huge, and I think we're going to get out of here.
I'm standing out on Bennett Road, probably about a mile or so from Highway 30. As you can see, this raging water here has been backed up by underneath this bridge on Bennett Road. The water is over the highway. We're right here on the corner of Morse and Bennett Road. I'll just kind of pan around so you can see some of the standing water here. The rain continues to fall and the water continues to rise. We were a little further up Bennett Road on an earlier picture. See the water up Bennett Road here is across the road, and I'll tell you, there are many lakes in Columbia County on this day. Down here at the Bayport Marina, I'm sure that probably a lot of you out there have visited Bobby's Dockside, or at least where Bobby's Dockside it used to be, and probably a lot of you have launched your boat at the boat ramp, which is now under many feet of water, backed up from the Columbia River here in the Scappoose Bay. Gilmore Road is just north of the city of just north of the city of Scappoose. To pan around and see some of this backup of water from Scappoose Creek. There were some areas on Highway 30 as we were traveling between St. Helens and Scappoose where water was running over the road. But basically with some caution, the road is passable, although all of the city, county, and state agencies are saying if you don't have to be out in this weather today, why the best place to be is home, protecting your own property and watching out for these constantly rising waters. Just west of Scappoose, along Scappoose Creek, I was standing here in this exact location yesterday afternoon, and the water has come up about 4 feet, I would say, at least 4, maybe 5 feet since that time. As a matter of fact, this is the Bart Lessard property, and Mr. Lessard had quite a bit of lumber, or I'm sorry, had quite a bit of firewood and large logs right where we're looking right now. Obviously they have gone on downstream, and it might be a little problem for Mr. Lessard to retrieve those. What did the fire department have to say this morning?
They wanted to evacuate us at about 2:30 in the morning.
Is that right? They sirens or what?
Oh yeah, woke everybody up.
Really?
It was good fun.
Yeah, it was good.
Oh yeah.
Not in the middle of the night.
No, not really.
No, that's bad news. Did you have any idea that the water was up that high at that time?
Yeah.
You did. You were watching it pretty close then.
We just went to bed before that.
Oh boy. Okay, well, hang in there. We're hoping that it's going to ease off here pretty quick. The waters again here from Scappoose Creek, it appears to raise and lower as the heavier rain showers come through in the upper foothills here. So you can be standing here and see a little flat of ground for a few minutes, and then all of a sudden, why, there will be a swell of water come down from the mountains, and that little plot of ground disappears. So I just heard also a report on Kohai radio while I was traveling around in my vehicle that Fox Creek Dam in the hills above Rainier has some threatening structural problems, and that they are at this time about 1:30 p.m. On February the 8th, 1996, evacuating part of the city of Rainier. As you can see, the county has closed off the road that would normally take you down into Scappoose. We're standing on Dutch Canyon Road now, but as I said, you can see that the water is completely over the road, and it's too deep and too fast to allow vehicular traffic to get through there. Well, as you can see, we're standing here at Brown's Landing, which is normally what you're looking at now is the parking lot for Brown's Landing. Gives you a pretty good idea how high this Columbia River and the slough has risen since the last time I was down here. The last time I was here, I pulled into the parking lot and had to walk down a pretty steep gangplank to get down to the marina. Now I see a U-Haul truck parked over here, and I'm not sure whether these people are evacuating because of the impending flood damage potential, or whether they're just some other reason for that U-Haul truck being parked there. Scappoose Creek here running under Highway 30 just north of Scappoose. The gas company personnel are concerned that this water and the debris coming down is going to damage the pipe that carries the gas across the creek, and that's the pipe that you see there where the water is hitting up against it and splashing up over the top of it. If a large log were to come down there, it could knock that gas line out, and that would do some serious damage to the people on down the highway here, possibly all the way down into the city of St. Helens. There you just saw the pipe move considerably when something bumped into it. So what these crews are trying to do right now, I was talking with the foreman, of course they're pretty busy and I couldn't get him on camera, but what they're trying to do is raise that pipe up above the elevation of the water so that the debris coming down won't keep bashing into it and possibly break it. The Highway 30 bridge over Milton Creek, and you can see up the street. I'll try and zoom in a little bit on that. There's a real problem up here with water all the way across Highway 30 and over into the auto sales area on the other side of the street. There you can see how slow traffic is moving along and how deep the water is. And here at Columbia River People's Utility District, they have not escaped the flood of water that's taking place. The waterfront at Columbia City, as you can see, the water is right up to the base of this home here. The walkway that goes down normally to the beach down below there, I understand there's about 9 or 10 steps, which is a considerable amount of water. And from there on, it even goes down further to the beach. So a lot of water coming down this Columbia River today. And it continues to rain, and the water continues to rise. The current going down washes a lot of this debris back in next to the bank, and it'll get swept around, and part of it will be carried down, and part of it will eddy back in again. So a lot of water. Sandbagging was the order of the day at many locations throughout the South Columbia, well, the entire Columbia County area today, as floodwaters continued to ravage all of the local streams and put them out of their banks. So in order to protect the residences and the businesses throughout the area, people have been just working hour after hour loading and delivering these sandbags to various locations. A tedious job, but a job that has to be done in order to protect the property. Here north of St. Helens is the Lawrence oil operation, which you can see has been temporarily put out of business by this high water. The water across the road, as you can see in the background there, probably 10 inches deep.
Just south of St. Helens, right by Scappoose Bay Marina, and as you can see, it's flooded all the way up into the pasture here by the road, and the road is not underwater. This is Friday morning at 8 a.m. Out on Old Portland Road in Warren.
I start driving in with my four-wheel drive, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, the water's coming up, pushing in the door. Hit reverse.
I'm standing in front of Winter Circle's Farm and Feed in St. Helens, and they are underwater a few inches. They've got all their feed up on pallets. Must have been a long night for them. At the security building at Armstrong Products, and the water is up all around the campus here. You can see it is up to the parking lot, but doesn't look like the mill is underwater. However, I was told that the operations are shut down.
Now, it's flooding at Milton Creek here. This is the main access line to Boise Cascade, and the railroad tracks, you can see how they're buckled. This side of the bridge, where it's a solid piece there, it used to be gravel all the way up to there, and it looks like this side is washed out. Wow. Have some major repairs before Boise's going to have any rail access anymore.
Wow.
Out on the far side is the old pole yard. It's been closed for quite a while, but the whole area is underwater.
Jeez.
I used to live down in this area in 1964, and this is probably 3 feet higher than it was at that point.
Is that right?
Right here, yeah.
And those are the only tracks into Boise?
The only ones in and out.
Wow, so it's going to be a while before they're going to get shipments. I just got a glimpse of this yard here underwater. These tanks in that shed in water. could be Armstrong property. I'm not sure. You can see Armstrong over there. And as we said before, Armstrong is shut down. Standing in McCormick Park, and yesterday this area was underwater. They wouldn't even let us get back in here. There's still, the river is very high, but has receded. This area was all underwater. You can see the mud and the trees. You can tell that the water was up. This was all underwater, and the river is still up very, very high. That's Milton Creek, rather, not a river, but at this point it looks more than a river. It's still very, very high, but again has receded compared to what it was yesterday when this area, and I'm standing in the parking lot, was all underwater, and they weren't letting anyone back in here. I'm in St. Helens at the old courthouse, where the new pilings they just have put in recently are up to their necks in water. The river is still rising at this point. The Columbia River is still on its way up, and there's not a lot more to go before this will be underwater. As you can see from the footage yesterday, it has risen considerably. There's a lot of people down here surveying the damage. It's really quite amazing at how high this water is. As I was saying, this is all new construction, not even completed, and it is underwater. What else have you seen around the county?
Big mudslide on Highway 30. Don't go Highway 30.
I was here yesterday. Got scared to death.
Don't go that way. As far as one of our other, the only other county park that we have problems with is Big Eddy.
I was wondering about Big Eddy.
Big Eddy's completely flooded. It was 2 nights ago. It was up to the trailer.
Wow.
But we haven't been able to get over there.
Well, did you get the caretakers out?
Yeah, the caretaker was, we got him out a couple nights ago. Actually,
wow.
3 nights ago.
Now, is Vernonia underwater or what?
As far as we know, it still is.
Really?
That's what I've heard.
Wow.
The problem is you can't get over there.
Right.
You know, that's what we have. We can't get to Big Eddy. And
what about Prescott? I was up there yesterday.
Can't get to Prescott because of Graham Road.
Yeah.
The trailer itself, everything is safe down there because one of our park board members lives in Prescott and he refused to leave.
Oh, is that right?
So he's still at his house and they'll burn him. He just. Oh, yeah.
Well, yesterday I saw that, you know.
Harry Truman of Prescott, you know. I'm not leaving. I've been here for 40 years. I'm not leaving.
I saw the Goble RV park there yesterday underwater. That was phenomenal. Do you know if the moorage is still hanging on, or?
I didn't notice this morning. I didn't even see any boats, so hopefully they got the boats out. That was what we were hearing here yesterday.
Yeah.
Getting the boats out.
We're here at St. Helens waterfront with a whole new landscape of water. This is just all flooded, but hopefully this is as high as it's going to get. The report is that shouldn't go any higher than this. I'm here on River Street in St. Helens, and water is up over the streets, flooding everything in its path, including these condominiums that have recently been built and some still under construction. Hopefully the water won't be getting any higher than this.
Another very unusual thing, something that we haven't seen here in over 30 years, is the coal deck area of the Boise Cascade plywood mill plant. Water in that coal deck area. I'll kind of pan around here a little bit so you can see the broad expanses of the Columbia River. Considerably wider now with all of this flood water that is coming down at a rapid rate of speed, carrying debris with it that has taken out, as I understand, the city docks that were over on Sand Island, and one of the most popular summertime visitor areas, boater visitor areas around. Right down by the waterfront now, and somebody just walked by and said, my, what a difference a day makes. And I think that's a comment that I made a little early this morning when I was out filming some of this flood damage. You can see some of the people that are interested in the condition of their boats out at the docks, which are now separated from land by 100 yards or so, going out to check things out, and the only way to get to your boat is by boat. On this Friday, the 9th of February, 1996, the month of the disastrous flood here in Oregon. Here again you can see the masts of the boats that have been moored in here, and some are moored a little farther on up into Scappoose Bay. We're at a location that you saw yesterday on Channel 9 if you were watching our flood report. The stairs, 4 more stairs have been inundated during the night, and there's a possibility that there will be another 1 or 2 before this crests out today. We're in Columbia City. Continues to be massive amounts of flotsam coming down the river. Just saw a barrel of something half submerged go by a little while ago. Broad expanses of the river here. As I mentioned before, the Coast Guard has closed the river between Portland and Rainier because of the damage from wake, and you can see that here on the shoreline. Any wake would really disturb the ground.
As far as we understand, this used to be Milton Creek bed behind you, and we always have water problems, but they're never quite this bad.
And Melissa, you've been here with the fire department pumping all day?
Since about noon.
And how high was the water when you started out? Can you show me?
Started out about up here.
Up to there. Oh my. So you've made some pretty good progress, but there's still a long way to go.
This whole patio was underwater when they came.
I'm going to pan around there, and so about up to where the wet spot is on the sidewalk there then, huh?
Yeah, right.
Or maybe even a little higher. The sun's been out today. Let me pan around behind me where I'm standing here, one of the other firemen standing out there, and here's the creek bed. As you can see, it still has a considerable amount of water in it. What I meant to say was the original Milton Creek bed, and I understand that some years ago it was diverted into another area. There is a sump pump located down here that normally takes care of the runoff that normally occurs during heavy rains, but this flooding situation that we've had just overwhelmed the pump, and of course a lot of the drains plugged up, and so we have a resulting flooding situation. Well, I wish you the best of luck, and I hope that this situation corrects itself and doesn't happen again for another 35 years.
We're grateful to the fire department.
They've been very busy, I know, and certainly everybody that's had to deal with them appreciate that cooperation. The fire department, police department, and all of the agencies have just been working very hard and been doing a very good job, I think. You could have heard me with the pump running there in the garage, but I did want to show you that the fire department is here on standby and pumping this water out onto the street where it's running on down and away from this old Milton Creek stream bed here. So it's been busy times for the fire department and police department, and I'm sure that they're very much appreciated. Standing down here by the river river again in Old Town St. Helens. I have run across City Administrator Mr. Brian Little, who has agreed to say a few words regarding the flood damage down here. Brian, could you tell us a little about it?
Well, we were a little excited yesterday. The river fortunately didn't crest, or isn't projected to crest as high as it should. We did last night lose the docks on Sand Island. That was created by a log boom was lost, and the log raft then just went on down the river and crashed directly into the docks on Sand Island, and I understand they're pretty much destroyed. Either that or floated on down the river. Other than that, we're pretty good. We have a couple of sewage pump stations that are underwater. We're going to wait until it dries out to be able to get back into them. Fortunately, they're not in heavily populated areas. And the docks in the county are withstanding, although you may have taken some video down there. There isn't much piling left on some of them. Those are roped on and with chains around the pilings, try to keep them in place, allow them to float up, even up over the piling ends, but hopefully they'll hold. The latest forecast that I heard was that the river was supposed to crest about 4 o'clock, just a few minutes from now, and then slowly recede. So, and the weather forecast shows continued sun, so everything should be going down.
behind now. There's Warren Billow's house.
This is one of the many bridges on Scappoose Creek, but this one met a perilous fate. Cameraman Dan Oliphant does a great job of capturing the devastation as it washes out down Scappoose Creek. Just another reminder of some of the awesome power of Mother Nature.
Lane of 47. We have several trees into it, and across the road we've got cut back to one lane. Possibility.
Gee. Well, we wondered if it would go over the road. I guess it did, didn't it?
Yep. Look at the label. Look how high the label was. I feel like to laugh at that stuff right now.
I bet the gym is wet.
Picture.
Stacy's slide.
Look at the monkey bars. Yeah.
How would you like to go down that slide right now? Look where it goes into.
That'd be fun.
Condos going in. You can see the flood water by the back porch there. Here's another slide just past the disc stop in, past Little Jack Falls. On Highway 30. Graham Road, Prescott. This is the admin building at Trojan. Water outside there. Not too sure what that is inside.
This is where Fox Creek crosses Highway 30, and this gentleman said yesterday this was way up over its banks. As you can see, there's a lot of road damage here, and I can see there's a lot of road damage on the way over here on Near Road. There were several areas where it's just about washed out, and I'm not so sure it's not gonna still yet. I'm gonna try and find a different way back. can see that they sandbagged here on the parking lot by Century Market, and there are definitely signs that water's been up around here. I'm gonna see if I can find someone to talk to. It looks like, you know, you did some sandbagging yesterday. Was that successful?
That was very successful. The city and several volunteers, the whole town kind of got together to save their grocery store. They did a great job.
Well, that's wonderful. And it looks like that creek came up quite a ways.
It did. It was lapping at the curb.
Wow.
We were lucky that they got the job done when they did.
Yeah. And you say there's the one across the street got flooded?
Yes, all the businesses on the other side of the road in that block got flooded, as well as the grade school behind them.
You had some flood damage with the elementary school?
Yes, the elementary school gym, they worked until about 2 o'clock in the morning, the night of the big flood. And we find that the whole floor is soggy and it's going to have to be replaced. It's about $65,000 we're estimating.
But the whole school was underwater, or?
Just the gym was attacked, but the whole school ground is full of water, or the play yard. And they're trying to just dry out the gym enough so the kids can play in the gym because they can't get out and play in the schoolyard for recess. So that's a problem.
It's just pretty well full of mud, isn't it?
Yes. So we had mud and water, and a lot of it was seeping through the concrete and up underneath the gym floor. I was in there a couple hours ago, and we bounced up and down in order to get some pictures, and the floor lifted about an inch and a half off the 2x4s that support the floor, so it was quite a mess.
You having problems up at the high school as well?
Yes, we just found out that the sewer to the high school was broken, and our public works person and Mr. Carlson are going up right now to review that, see if there's a way we can do a quick repair in order to have high school operating.
So at this point, the major damage has been done by the smaller creeks and not the Columbia?
Fox Creek was our major creek that was running over our highway all yesterday or day before. I can't remember. The time flies. We were up many hours. The citizens really came out and sandbagged, and we saved the Century Market, our only grocery store, and they were very, very good about providing sandwiches and coffee for the workers, and we had tons of sand hauled by our trucks and some outside trucks in order to do the sandbags and to back up the sandbags to keep the creek from going into the grocery store.
And it worked.
It really worked. So
that's wonderful.
There were many, many teenagers out here and even grade schoolers filling the sandbags. We were really excited about all the help from the whole community to save and do the sandbagging. We hope to talk to Elizabeth first or her representative later this afternoon to report on some of the damage we've had. The local tug operation, Foss, figures they have about $400,000 worth of damage in their area. So we'll be talking to them a little more and getting more detail. But I think working with all the agencies, the fire department, the school district, and the city really all worked together and the police department to keep this from being a real disaster. Several of the churches had soup line and made chili, and we had two areas where people stayed overnight. I think there were 10 couples that stayed at one church. We pulled the mats, or the wrestling mats, out of the junior high school or middle school, and put on the floor in the church for people to lay on, to sleep on. So, and there was one lady in Goble called, and we didn't happen to use her, but she had a room for 12 people, and so we had that number as another emergency place people could stay. So that was really great.
Rainier on Highway 30 up on the hill, and it's a good viewpoint from up here to take a look at all the flooding down in the lowlands along the Columbia River. This is the north side of the bridge. There's the Rainier Longview Lewis and Clark Bridge. You can see across the river there and down into Rainier. There's the boat with the logs on it, or the barge rather. So you can see there's quite a bit of area that's flooded. Fortunately, it looks like most of the homes are on high ground. Hey, what's your name?
Horace Wright, volunteer fireman from Bystanders.
What exactly are you doing here?
Well, this is our access road into the Lost Creek area up here. We're pumping this out, trying to drain it out here so we can get emergency rigs in here if we have to.
Oh, I see.
But when we started here, there was about 5 feet of water in there, so it's down almost passable now.
Is that right? So which creek is this that's flooded?
Lost Creek.
I see. And I heard that up the road here on Highway 30 towards Claskenai, it's...
Highway 30 is completely closed up there. One side of it's 2 lanes on the downhill side is gone.
Wow.
And they figure maybe 3 to 4 weeks before they could get it open, if then.
Really?
It's really bad.
Could you tell me some of the things that have been happening here?
Well, the city of Claskenai is in really, really bad shape. All the trailer courts in Claskenai are flooded. All the trailers, mobile homes.
Hasn't the water receded any?
It's gone down now, starting down, but there's still a lot of water around the mobile homes.
That's the chief office right there. Up to the windows. That's the park out in the background. That's all flooded. This is the Kano. Flooded. That's the sewer pump station right there. What, Arlene? That's the Park Street Bridge.
The library.
That car.
John said the library has water in it this high.
Amazing. There's the library back there. It's got water in it up to the eyebrows. Yep. This is by Hazy's. See the water's up to the window. This is Main Street here. See water all the way down Main Street. See the water moving between the buildings. And over here, oh, look how pretty the current is there. Behind humps. Right behind humps right here. That's the stairs up the humps. That's how much water we got in the river here. Highway 30 over there, and people are going, they're trying to get out, but you take your life into your hands.
Right now we're
It's a little bit lower tide now, so we're getting through. It's the anchor in the park. Little park, there's the mini storage. That's looking down the Claskenai River. See I think that might be Dave Nelson's boat down there. Not sure. The good news is you won't touch bottom. Okay. 8, that's Arlene and Theresa from City Hall. Hello! And this is the center line of Highway 30. There's Safeway. And that's the water. Past the center line, almost across to the other curb. one lane of traffic is really open. See the car pushing water? Down a little. And that's the car, and this is Safeway parking lot. And it's water all the way up to, oh, that's all water. That's water coming between the post office and the bank there. There's the bridge, the traffic is stopped. I think they're letting it go one lane. This is Valley Trailer Park. These trailers were put at 100-year flood, presumably, and they got water. Look at that. This is inundated. Totally inundated. Little boat here, that's how you get to the trailer now. This is the trailer park Valley Motel. Beautiful lakeside property right now. This is down by the, pretty close to the bridge. That's looking into the park. These guys like it here.
These guys don't like it.
These guys say, hey, somebody build us a bigger swimming pool. That is looking into the park, and it's quite a shot. See how bad this water is, but look at the side of that trailer. That shows you how high it was earlier today. It was at least a foot, maybe 2 feet higher. So it's about 1 o'clock now. Look at that water pushing across the across Highway 30. This is the Highway 30 bridge, and it is totally just trashed. It's holding, but it's trashed. This is the Highway 30 bridge. Yep, look at this. I mean, and the water's coming across over there. Welcome to Plaskin. I hope you brought your swimming suit. This is coming out of the ditch along Highway 30 by the trailer park. These are all set at or above the 100-year flood, and they're all flooded. So that's our next lawsuit. This is crossing Highway 30 at there's Chinook, and we're letting people. We got a lead car. They'll come and get them. Here they come. But it's this gives you an idea. We're blocked out east and west going out of town. And this is the Chinook, and there's the American Legion. Here's Lake Plaskin here. Here's Quality Auto, Quality Auto. They're flooded. All flooded.
That is amazing. And the whole road there is dipped and ready to go too. It's just huge. So, wow. And all those are phone lines and things going through there?
That's a temporary line.
And now let's take to the skies for a look at the county that you normally wouldn't get to see. staff and volunteers of Channel 9 would like to commend all of the volunteers who braved rain and high waters to help their friends and neighbors in a way this county has never seen. Whether it was sandbagging, clearing fallen debris, or taking evacuees into their homes, the residents of our communities pulled together in this great time of need and built more than walls against the surging floodwaters. They built stronger friendships. It was a true case of triumph over tragedy.